All right, in example 3, we're going to do a set of class marks, and we're going to use the 3 measures of central tendency to try and figure out, well, what's the best way to try and evaluate the performance of this particular class. Okay, and then we have to try and explain which option we're going to choose. Okay, so we want to be able to calculate mean, median, and mode. And we have a whole bunch of numbers here. And so again, first thing that we always need to do when we have these numbers is we have to put them in order from the smallest number to the biggest number. Okay, so that's the first thing that we're going to do. Because if we don't do that, then we won't be able to calculate the median and we won't be able to calculate the mode. So we're going to put those numbers in order from the lowest number to the biggest number to start off with. Okay, so now we've put all of the numbers, the marks in order from the lowest mark on the left-hand side to the highest mark down here over on the right-hand side. So we've got to figure out, well, what's the mean? Okay, what's the average mark in the entire class? So we know that the mean is the total of all of the individual marks divided by the total number of marks that there are. So if I add up all of these numbers together, 13 plus 52 plus 54, etc., all the way to the end, then I end up with 1,218. Okay. So now what I got to do is I got to figure out, well, how many marks are there in total? So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there are 18 marks in total, 18 people. So 1218 divided by 18 gives me an average or a mean of about, we'll round it up to 1 decimal place, so 67.7. Okay, so that's my mean. Okay. The next thing that you want to look at is the median. Okay, what's the middle number? Okay, and we just determined that there's 18 data points in this particular example, and that means that it's not going to be precise. It's going to be somewhere in the middle. So what we need to do is we need to count up between 9 and 10. It's going to be somewhere between the 9th and the 10th number. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay, so it's going to be somewhere in the middle. Okay, it's going to be between 70 and 71. So if I look to the left, then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. And if I look to the right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 numbers. So my median is actually going to be the middle number somewhere between 70 and 71. So 70 plus 71 divided by 2, that's actually going to give me a median of 70.5. Okay, so my median number is 70.5. Okay, and now I got to figure out my mode. Okay, so the number that shows up most often. So if I'm looking through here, I'm looking for any doubles or triple numbers. And my double numbers, I see I have 263s, but that's it. I only have 263s. So my mode is 63. So now I got to sit back and I got to figure out, okay, well, which one of these 3 measures of central tendency is probably the best one to use to evaluate this particular class. Okay, I've got a mean of almost 68. I've got a median of 70.5, and I've got a mode of 63. Okay, well, averages or means are usually distorted by really high numbers or really low numbers. So if you look at the data set, are there any numbers that are either really low or really high that don't match up with anything else around them? And if you look over here on the left, one poor soul has 13% in the class. Okay, and the next closest number to that individual, they've got 52. Okay, so there's one person who is below passing, and they are way out of whack, and that's going to actually influence and change up the mean. Okay, if you actually remove that person, then it would suddenly bump the mean probably higher. Okay, the mode of 63, the mode happens below the mean, below the median, and the mode is also way below the mean. The mode could just be a matter of coincidence that 2 people happen to have the same mark approximately. And so the mode is, you know, the mode is helpful, but it's not necessarily the best descriptor. Usually, in this situation, I would look toward the median. And the median indicates the number of people above or below a certain mark. So what this is telling me is that half my class is getting 70.5 or higher. Okay, and half of them are getting below that. Okay, so there's a good half of the class that's doing pretty darn well. Okay, and there's room to improve there, obviously, for the other half of the class. But one of those people has 13%, and the next person up has 52%. So that means that the vast majority of 8 of those 9 people on the left-hand side of the median, they're in a position to still pass and still improve. The individual with 13%, they're in a lot more of a sticky situation, but the bulk of the class is doing reasonably well. So if I was to try to figure out how the class is doing on the whole, in this particular situation, I'd be looking at the median, okay? Because the median seems to be the most accurate, the most representative of class performance based on the numbers at hand.